Good morning. This is the Bills Committee on Inland Revenue Amendment Number 2, Bill 2015. We need to elect a chairman. Nominations, please. Mr. Charles Mock. I nominate Mr. Leung Kai-Chang. Seconders? All right. Any other nomination? Mr. Lee? I nominate you. I accept the nomination. Any seconders, please? So Mr. Charles Mock, can you come over to chair the meeting?
主持哦。
梁議員獲提名。之前嗰幾位未出席。
咦？咁但係我提名人喎，得唔得？
都得嘅嚇。提名人冇問題啊。OK。因為我哋都係公開嘅啫。
好啦，咁呢度
我哋而家派選。
好，咁我哋而家派選票。
So our staff will distribute the ballot papers to members. Members, please chop a tick against the number that you prefer. Number 1, Mr. Kenneth Leung. Number 2, Mr. Andrew Leung. And as we are voting by secret ballot, please do not let others see your voting choice.
係派咗6張。
All right, a total of 6 ballot papers have been issued.
有冇委員未獲發？
Members, have you all got the ballot papers? A total of 6 ballot papers have been distributed. All right. So voting is closed, and our staff can no longer distribute further ballot papers. So please, members, put your ballot papers into the ballot box. And before you put the ballot paper into the box, please do not leave your seat. 咁我請邊個出？我自己人就咁。
係啊，另外一位
就係李慧瓊。咁我而家請提名嘅2位議員，即係。
So can I invite the 2 members who made nominations? In other words, I myself and Ms. Starry Lee, to observe the counting of the votes. And all the ballot papers will be destroyed after the meeting. All right, can I invite Mr. Sin Chung Kai, the seconder, to observe the counting of the ballot papers for me, please?
係好，唔該。
2號
Number 2.
1號
Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2. So I announce the voting results. Mr. Kenneth Leung, 3 votes. Mr. Andrew Leung, 3 votes. And according to the House rules, I need to draw ballot and decide how I should vote.
係2號
Number 2. So Mr. Andrew Leung is elected chairman of the Bills Committee. Mr. Leung, please.
下使唔使選副主席咯？
好啊，需唔需要選？
Do we need a deputy chairman? No? So let's invite the administration in. We have with us Ms. Mabel Chan, Deputy Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury, Mr. Gary Poon, PAS for Financial Services and the Treasury, Mr. Chiu Kwok Kit, Deputy Commissioner of Inland Revenue, Ms. Hui Chu Po, Senior Assessor, Inland Revenue Department, and finally Ms. Frances Hui, Senior Assistant Law Draftsman, Department of Justice. So, the Deputy Secretary, please. Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, members. The purpose of the IR Amendment Number 2 Bill 2015 is to amend the Inland Revenue Ordinance to implement concessionary revenue measures proposed in the 2015-2016 budget. Firstly, in order to alleviate taxpayers' burden in raising their children, it is proposed in the 2015-16 budget that the child allowance under salaries tax and tax under personal assessment be increased from the current $70,000 to $100,000 for each child per annum. And then the additional one-off child allowance in the year of birth will also be increased from the current $70,000 to $100,000 for each child. The increases will take effect from the year of assessment 2015-16 onwards. We believe that about 370,000 taxpayers will benefit from these proposals, and the revenue foregone is estimated to be about $2 billion a year. And then secondly, a number of one-off counter-cyclical relief measures were proposed in the 2015-16 budget. And these include a one-off reduction of salaries tax, tax under personal assessment and profits tax for the year of assessment 2014-15 by 75%, subject to a ceiling of $20,000 per case. The reduction will be reflected in the taxpayer's final tax payable for the year of assessment 2014-15. About 1.82 million taxpayers will benefit from the proposed one-off reduction of salaries tax and tax under personal assessment. And the proposed one-off reduction of profits tax will benefit about 130,000 tax-paying corporations and unincorporated businesses. The revenue foregone for 2015-16 is about $17.7 billion. In fact, the details of these proposals can be found in the legislative brief issued to members on the 15th of April. The measures will affect the final amount payable for the year of assessment 2014-15, and also the provisional tax payable for the year 2015-2016, and the IRD will have to issue the tax bills in badges next month, and so it is hoped that this bill can be passed in this council as early as possible. I and colleagues from the DOJ and the IRD will try to answer members' questions so that the measures can be implemented as early as possible, and so that taxpayers will get the benefit. Do members have any questions? No? Then I think we can start clause by clause scrutiny. Yes, Ms. Chan. Chairman. I want to say that, in fact, the drafting of this bill is modeled on the drafting of previous bills of the same nature. So the first part relates to the an increase in the child allowance from $70,000 to $100,000. And then the second part relates to the reduction in salaries tax, tax under personal assessment and profits tax for the year of assessment 2014-15 by 75%, subject to a ceiling of $20,000 per case. And for the increases in child allowances, there is a need to make some transitional arrangements, and members can refer to the schedule for the details. And perhaps Mr. Chiu from the IRD can take members through the bill. Yes, please, Mr. Chiu. Thank you, Chairman. I would like to invite members to go through the IR Amendment Number 2, Bill 2015 with me. The bill seeks to implement the concessionary revenue measures proposed by the FS in the 2015-2016 budget. Clause 1 is the short title. The ordinance may be cited as the Inland Revenue Amendment Number 2 Ordinance 2015. Clause 2. The Inland Revenue Ordinance is amended as set out in sections 3 to 6. And then Clause 3. Section 89 amended transitional provisions. And in fact, this clause mainly relates to provisional tax. Clause 4, Section 97 to be added after Section 96. And this relates to the one-off relief measures. The cap is 75%. Then Clause 5, Schedule 4 amended. And you can see the allowances in this schedule. In fact, the only amendment to Schedule 4 is the increase of the child allowance from $70,000 to $100,000. Clause 6, Schedules 33 and 34 added. Yes, can you please pause, Mr. Sin Chung Kai? Chairman, what do you mean by child? Is it from the day of birth till 21 years old? What is the age definition of a child? Chairman, basically, a child is one under 18 years old. If he or she is over 18 years old, then he or she must be receiving full-time education, and the ceiling is 25 years old. Yes, please continue. Clause 6, Schedules 33 and 34 added. So we have interpretation, year of assessment 2014-15, meaning the year of assessment commencing on the 1st of April 2014, and then year of assessment 2015-16, meaning the year of assessment commencing on the 1st of April 2015. And then concerning the calculation of the provisional tax for the year of assessment 2015-2016, we need to take into account the net chargeable income of a person for the year of assessment 2014-2015. And then it is said that for this purpose, we can take into account the new allowance in calculating the provisional salaries tax for the year of assessment 2015-2016. And then holding over of payment of provisional salaries tax, again, the calculation can be based on the new allowance. Next, Schedule 34.
Schedule 34 is divided into 3 parts. It shows the salary reduction of taxes for year of assessment 2014-15. First one is salaries tax, the 75% of the amount of the tax that's computed, or 20,000, whatever is the lesser. Second part is the profits tax. It's also 75% of the amount of the tax is computed, or $20,000, whichever is the lesser. If a trade is carried on by a partnership, any of the partners has elected to be assessed, then the reduction would be on the whole of the net profits of the trade and not the tax charged on the net assessable profits of the trade shared by the partners. And for the third one, it's the tax under personal assessment. If a couple is assessed together, then the amount of tax to be apportioned between the husband and wife is the amount is reduced under subsection 1. Chairman, the Inland Revenue Amendment number 2 bill is written in similar way than the previous one. So, do you have any questions? Well, can we look at the new Schedule 33? Oh no, Schedule 34? What is Section 31A? Well, you have $10,000 here for 1A. What's the difference between that? 6.1 is on the basic allowance for each child, which means children who are 18 or under. For 1A, it's the child, the year of birth of the child, which is a one-off child allowance, which is adjusted from 70,000 to 100,000 for that particular year. Mr. Leung, any questions? No? No other questions? Do we need to hold a public hearing? If not, then this concludes the bill clause-by-clause scrutiny. So can you tell us what the timeline would be? Well, we hope that we'll be able to work with the Secretariat, and once we complete the papers and reports, we hope that we'll be able to resume second reading on June 24th, and then after it is approved, and then we'll be able to send out the tax forms in August. Legal advisor, do you have any other comments? No. All right. Any other business? No. This meeting adjourned. Thank you.